Okay, we're back, and this is in 3b, and we're still at where we left off because I want to show you a couple more things that are really important. Please stay with me on this because you're going to die as you see this thing build to a climactic conclusion. It's just so phenomenal. Okay, we had left off where I said this was prolepsis, meaning that it's an emphasized position in the sentence instead of the normal. See, this is the verb apostellw, which we just saw, means to send, me. See, it's normally like in English, somewhat like in English. He sent me. That's the normal order. But here in the requote, and we're going to prove that it's a requote. You're going to die when you see the proof. He's putting it first in the proleptic position, meaning me he sent. Okay, I mean, by putting it in that order, you would say in English, but he sent me. Okay? Okay? Got to get that. That's real important. Now, just like in English, you normally put the subject and then the verb. Okay? Subject would be I instead of me. Verb would be, I sent, or he sent. Okay, here it's he sent, but I mean, normally it would be I send. That's the normal word order in Greek and similar to English. Okay, this is really important. Okay, because he's setting it up to say that he sent Moses, and when you see how he does this, you're just going to die. But he's setting it up now. He's being very sly about it. Well, not sly, but how do I want to put it? Gentle. He's sneaking it up on them because they're negative, and he's trying to, he always did the foray thing like did with the Samaritan woman at the well. So he's using wordplay because the Greeks were real big on wordplay, and of course the Hebrews real big on wordplay. So they know to pay attention to the way he words a thing. So he's putting himself in the place where the subject belongs. That would normally be autos, okay, for he sent. But autos is missing in the sentence. You don't really need it in Greek because this is already third person singular. All right? But when he says me there, he's already setting up that he's the subject as well as the object. Okay? And there's something else that's a Greek geek thing you need to know about this me. It's called the heroic accusative in classical Greek. You'll see it used in Romans 8:28, where God is actually positioned in the object of the sentence, okay, to those who love God. And then in Romans 8:28, it's he causes all things to work together for good. But the word God in Greek is in the accusative case. Same thing here. Okay, it's called in classical Greek and even in Koine sometimes, it's called the heroic accusative. It was used in Greek drama in order to stress the hero. In other words, the hero is put in the accusative case to stress that he's the beginning and the ending, the first and the last. Are you beginning to see some of the wordplay now? The Lord is putting his own self right there where the subject of the verb belongs in the sentence. And then this is he sent. But because of his positioning, he's equating himself with the Father just by the position of the word me. And it's in the heroic accusative that would ring really strongly to someone who spoke Greek, because they would have heard it all the time in Greek drama. I don't know if we have an English equivalent to that. How do you translate this? I don't even know. Okay, so that's important. The position of the me is where the subject belongs. And that should normally be autos, which means he, but he's saying me. So he's equating he, Father, to me, Son. He's already doing that. And of course, he's been doing that since John 6. All right, but he's making a big stink of it here. And he's putting himself in the heroic accusative. He's the hero of the story. Do you begin to understand why in John 8:59 they want to stone him? If he is not who he claims to be, he's really being blasphemous and arrogant. And he's already doing it here. He's been doing it since John 6. Okay? So he's putting himself where the subject belongs. And then he uses the verb. In Greek, this is called prolepsis. It's out of order. It's supposed to be after the verb, but it's not. So it's stressing the me. And it's also called the heroic accusative. You can look those terms up in Google. They're classical Greek terms. All right? And they're used in Greek drama to stress the hero, the heroic quality of the hero. Okay? And this is the accusative case, me, rather than I. All right? Okay, now I've got to cover a couple things about the verb. The verb apostellw, as you can see. Oh, crud, wait a minute. I hit the mouse wrong. Wait a minute. All right, here we go. Okay. This here in the New Testament, in John 8:42, it's in the aorist. Now that really matters too. See, he's taking advantage of every single Greek rule. Anybody who thinks the Lord couldn't speak Greek is an idiot. He can't. The person who's making that claim can't read the Greek himself to understand. The aorist tense they got a similar tense in Russian, but I don't know enough about Russian to say what the differences are. But in Greek, the aorist tense is basically focusing on the action. Okay. It's not focusing on time. It's focusing on action. So when you don't focus on time, you're taking the time element out. Well, God is timeless. You're getting the wordplay here? He's using the aorist. He's stressing his godness by using the aorist. Okay, see down here, we have the perfect, because why? Because Moses is sent. It's got a beginning and an ending. Okay? We've got this thing here, apostellw here. That's him talking to Moses. And it's in the perfect tense. It's not in the aorist, it's in the perfect. Why? Because Moses has a beginning and an ending. All right? But God doesn't. So he switches it to the aorist. Stressing timelessness, stressing his beingness. Do you see how he's setting it up for 8:58? He's taking a word that he already knows, okay, is in the perfect tense of Exodus 3:14, and he's changing it to the aorist. As soon as they heard him say, "Sent me," okay, as soon as they heard that, they should have been reminded of Exodus 3:14. Because God sent Moses, why? To be the Savior of Israel. And who is Christ claiming to be? The Savior of Israel. God sent Moses. God sent me. Okay? Only he's changing the tense to aorist instead of perfect. Because God is timeless. So he's making yet another statement. Besides putting himself where the word God ought to be, he for God, he's putting his own name there. His own self there. And then for apostellw, he's using the aorist. Now, of course, God the Father is timeless. Okay, but he's switching it to aorist as if, and of course it's true, even in eternity past, there never was a time when he wasn't going to be sent. See, always sent. Aorist has this connotation of just the action. It depends on which way the aorist is used. But it has a timelessness about it. So there was never a time when he wasn't going to be sent. He's stressing his own godness already, right here. Okay? Now in the next segment we're going to go through more of that. But preview of coming attractions, basically what he's doing is he's taking every keyword in Exodus 3:14 and from John 8:42 forward, okay, he is going to rope all those words in Exodus 3:14 around the crowd so that by the time he gets to 8:58, he's basically said the whole verse using the keywords. And he comes to the end of this. He comes to the end of it. All right? I don't know how much sense I'm making, but try to master what you've heard so far. Make sure you understand the difference between the aorist, which is up here, the middle blue, the second blue highlighting, and the perfect, which is the last blue highlighting in Exodus 3:14. Try to get that much. And remember that this is the proleptic and heroic accusative of I, and this is where the subject ought to go, meaning God the Father, but he's putting himself there. He's putting his own self there. That's as if he were lying, that's as arrogant and as blasphemous as it gets. He's equating himself with God already. So try to master that, and we'll go on in the next segment.